I think one of the things that people don't realize about the work we do in hospice care is that it's really hopeful work. And that we have these amazing experiences with families where we go into their home and we have the privilege of caring for them at the end of their life. And so we're extremely excited that we have the opportunity to be able to build this building and offer this as a resource for families in Connecticut. Many years ago, I had a good friend that died, and she died in her home. And we didn't have buildings like what we're building today for her to go to. And it was extremely important to me at the time that she was able to see the trees and see the flowers and look outside at the grass. And unfortunately, we weren't able to roll her out onto a patio so that she could have that ability. And instead, what we had to do is carry her to the window so she could look out at the trees and the weeping willows and the cherry trees. And I'll never forget that, because it's so important that people at the end of their life are able to experience the sunshine on their face and the wind and look at the blue skies. And one of the things that we're going to be able to do in this building is have patios so that we can roll patients' beds out onto the patio. They can sit there with their loved ones. And so we're extremely excited that we have the opportunity to be able to build this building and be the first one of its kind in Connecticut to offer this for families and their loved ones.
And oh, I have so many memories. I wouldn't be able to tell you which one is the best one.
I have the privilege of caring for Seal in her home. Seal's a 106-year-old patient. She's probably one of the oldest patients that I've ever cared for. She's a remarkable lady. She was a teacher, and she's still teaching from her bedside at 106. Recently, she agreed to have photos of her skin cancer given to her dermatologist so that she can teach medical students the value of catching cancer early and not to just let skin cancer go. So I told her, I said, at 106, you're just not done teaching yet. You're still continuing to teach.
I was teaching, but in a different way, that's all. I hope until the day I die, I'm still helping somebody. We can always teach somebody something.
Seal's been bedridden now for about 3 months, and we tried different ways for her to still be able to sit in her chair that she loves and to sit in the sunshine, but she didn't want to do that. She wanted to be in her bedroom at this moment, so being in bed is more comfortable for her. If she was in our residence, she would have the ability to be in her bed where she's most comfortable and be wheeled out right onto the porch. In preparation for Storm Sandy, we had to move Seal to an emergency shelter because we feared that she would lose power in her home, which she did. We had to get the ambulette, we had to move her, we had to disrupt her normal routine to put her in a shelter to be safe and to be able to use the oxygen that she's dependent on. When we open our residence in Danbury, caregivers' minds will be at ease, family members' minds will be at ease, knowing that their loved ones are cared for. Even during snowstorms, when there's power outages in their homes, we'll be fully staffed and up and running with all the necessary equipment to keep patients comfortable at that time. Having a hospice residence is very important to me, to have it in this area. I want everybody to be able to have the option of going to a hospice residence and be served with comfort and dignity and have their end-of-life treatment be as comfortable as possible. I wish I had that for my own grandmother.
But the nurses who come, oh, they're wonderful. Nobody has ever said, I'm too busy, it's too late, I have to get going. You think that you're the only one on the face of the ground to be taken care of by them.
Mackenzie started to get into princesses when she was first diagnosed with cancer, and she thought of herself as Belle, as you can see, and her dad was her beast, and to the point where Jacob and Mackenzie both called Michael the Beast. And she really liked Belle. She loved life, and she loved everything and everyone, and she was very gentle and very kind, and a good comparison to Belle is perfect to describe Mackenzie's demeanor. She became sick right after her 3rd birthday. She had an epithelioid sarcoma, which is a super, super rare form of cancer. She's the youngest in the United States to have it. 2 weeks from that first chemo last year in 2012, she perked up. She ate. She was eating so much. She was eating us out of house and home, and she was happy, and she was running, and every chemo she got better and better. When she got diagnosed again, November 23rd of 2012, I said, well, Mackenzie, I said, the cancer's back. And I said, but we're gonna beat it. She goes, yeah. She was sitting right on the kitchen counter, and she held her arm up. She goes, we're gonna kick cancer in the butt. I mean, that was her approach all the way until the first chemo with that cancer, which was in December 2012. It made her really sick. It almost fed the cancer, it felt like. And she said, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to. But every now and then we'd see her. We couldn't find her. Where's Mackenzie? She'd be in the toy box. Like, my husband had went, to use the bathroom. He came out and he's like, where's Mackenzie? Oh my God, where's Mackenzie? Because I was at work. She was in the toy box playing with toys. And that was like just a few days before she died. I mean, so even when she was exhausted, she still was a little girl, just wanted to play. I don't really know what I would have done without hospice in these last couple of months, because when I was too tired to fight, or when I just wanted to be her mom, hospice was her nurse, and hospice became her caregiver, and I was able to lay with her and hug her and hold her hand and just be her mom. And it was important to me because I was tired of being her doctor and her nurse. So they were great, so great. And when she passed, he wanted to know where she was, and for the first week or two, I wasn't quite sure how to answer that. So I told him, she's in heaven and she's happy. If you need her, just call her and she'll be by your side. You may not be able to see her, but she'll be there. And then we have wind chimes out front that after we got Mackenzie cremated, there's a little part of her in there, and Jacob thinks of her as singing to him. "Oh, KK's singing," he says. We didn't intend for Mackenzie to pass here in our home. We actually had thought she would pass in a hospital. And it just kind of worked out that way with hospice that we were able to stay here. However, I'm also now haunted by the memory that every time I come in this room, there's the vision of her body. That's just her body, because she was no longer alive, laying in her bed, and that's very difficult for me. So if you get the opportunity and the privilege to have the opportunity to use the hospice home, use it. Use it and be able to leave death there in that environment, and it's still beautiful and comforting and warm, and then come home to where you remember living with your child.
This whole project has been an unbelievable labor of love for the staff and for all of us at Regional Hospice. It's really been 5 years of a process of being able to say, we need to have this building for our patients and their families. When you think about Mackenzie, and you think about Seal, and you think about what this building would have meant to them, it really would have made a huge difference in their lives. And we think about every day, all the patients we take care of, and what this building would have meant to them, and what it will mean to them going forward. And so as a staff, as volunteers, the entire team that comes together to make this happen, everybody has been 110% together as a team to make sure that this dream comes true.